Hello and welcome. I am Gimba Umar. Tonight, Africa's leadership challenge in focus as participants at the Mo Ibrahim meeting in Morocco make case for holding leaders in the continent accountable. The Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board extends deadline for UTME registration, postpones examination to May 13th. Two suicide bombers meet their Waterloo as they attempt to gain access to a mosque near Maiduguri, the Borno state capital. And Russian military cuts communication link with Pentagon over attacks on Syrian Air Force base by the US.
And on business news tonight, analysts at financial derivatives company forecast Nigeria's headline inflation to drop further to 16.4% in the month of March.
On sports news tonight, Tunisia sacks national team coach Henrik Kasperzak after dismal performance in last month's friendlies against Morocco and Cameroon.
Holding leaders accountable so they fulfill promises of good governance, rule of law and provision of basic necessities for development has been the focus of discussions at the Mo Ibrahim Governance Weekend. Speakers at this year's event, holding in Morocco, include the former presidents, academics, rights activists and business people. Our foreign affairs correspondent Amarachi Ubani reports from Marrakech.
The evening begins with a general welcome to all the guests and speakers, some of whom will be participating in the conversation a little later. But the event is not declared open until a formal welcome from His Majesty King Mohammed VI of Morocco, represented by his advisor, Andre Azoulay, who sets the tone for the conversation.
Any temptation to play a leadership role in Africa is doomed to failure. Any such drive must be abandoned and for all, because what matters is the promotion and win-win partnerships.
Founder of the Mo Ibrahim Foundation, who's been described as straightforward even to world leaders, is even more honest tonight as he talks about Africa's unsung heroes.
The problem with Africa is that you don't know your heroes. You only know your bad leaders. Every one of you know about Mobutu, about all the criminals, the thieves, and Idi Amin. Every child in Africa knows Idi Amin. But you don't know who are our unsung heroes, unfortunately. We're trying to bring those people out of the shadows as role models. We need to know our heroes. We need to write our own history.
There is more honesty from the former president of Germany, Horst Keller, and the UN Deputy Secretary General, Amina Mohammed, who goes even more personal with her story.
I go where, for years, it has been for me very difficult to say I didn't get the education I needed, because everybody thought with this posh English accent, she has to have had a good education, she's a PhD. And so I had to work much, much harder. But my story is the story of millions of women. And if I don't use my story to make a difference, then I think that I have no business being in a place where it is demanded of me that I show leadership, because we know we have to make a difference today and not tomorrow.
We certainly shouldn't accept the idea that you have to be selfish, mean, or mendacious to be a leader. This doesn't mean that leaders have to be perfect. Imperfection is human. It is recognizing one's own imperfections that makes a good leader.
Punctuating the conversations are musical performances from Africa's best. From the Parliamentary Conference Center in Marrakech, Morocco, Amarachi Ubani, Channels Television News.
Our foreign affairs correspondent Amarachi Ubani earlier spoke to us from Marrakech and gave an update on what the participants think African leaders should be doing to change the continent's story.
Leaders are talking more about talking to themselves I mean, Mo Ibrahim is known for speaking his mind. He said a lot about, the kind of leaders that we should have. And the idea is to make leaders who have been in power too long, leaders who have not fulfilled promises, to feel ashamed of not doing that, to feel ashamed of not being recognized for doing something good, to feel ashamed of not fulfilling, for not keeping up, rule of law, good governance and things like that, to feel ashamed about not doing that, to realize that, Africa's future lies in our hands. That's the solution that they're proffering. And they said, there are different strategies of doing this. You start at the government level, you go out to the grassroots, you go to the middle class, and then there's a lot of talk surrounding, the youth and employment and all that.
As the Independent National Electoral Commission begins preparations towards 2019 general elections, the River State Governor seems disturbed over the manner in which the Commission is deploying its electoral officers. Governor Nyesom Wike is alleging that the RECs being deployed are those that will do the bidding of the opposition party. The Governor was speaking when he received the Governing Council and the Executive Council of the West African Bar Association in the Government House in Port Harcourt. Our correspondent, Emmanuel Ere, reports.
The Governing Council and executives of the African Bar Association, led by the President of the Bar and Chairman of the Council, are guests of the River State Governor Nyesom Wike in Government House in Port Harcourt, the state capital. Although they are here as part of activities towards the Bar's annual general meeting holding in the coming months in the States, the issues of strengthening democracy in Africa and Nigeria are the focus of the discussion here.
The African Bar Association has played very key leading role. We know Your Excellency is unable to attend several of the meetings because of your business in governance. We were able to intervene in the crisis in Burundi and very successfully at that. And our report has caused a lot of stir in the United Nations and in the Commonwealth of Nations and across the European Union. And that is the reason why Burundi today is a bit settled, and they have been extremely grateful to us for what we have done for them.
For the governor, the judiciary must take up the challenge of defending democracy in Nigeria.
What we are seeing in Nigeria today is a situation where this man is not likely to play according to our rules. Therefore, let's slam him of corruption. And then we will hear, oh, this man is corrupt. And then the public will be against the person. At the time judiciary is supposed to be strong, at the time Nigerian judiciary needed NBA to give them the backing to be strong and independent, they withdrew.
According to the African Bar Association, strengthening democratic institutions and the electioneering process in Africa and Nigeria in particular will form part of the discourse during the annual general meeting. Emmanuel Ere, Channels Television News.
The face-off between the executive and the legislature continues as Nigerians ask that the arms of government settle their differences for the good of growth and development of the country. However, among those who spoke on the matter is former Senator Dr. Olorunimbe Mamora. He sees the situation as normal for a level of democracy which Nigeria is practicing. Our correspondent, Ini Thompson, reports.
Not confirmed Ibrahim Magu as the chairman, and as such, it goes to show that it requires for the president to renominate another candidate, and in the interim, that he cannot, of course, somebody else will have to carry on the exercise.
For the second time, the Senate gave a negative response to the president's nomination of Ibrahim Magu as the chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. And over 2 weeks later, there's not been a reaction from the executive, and Mr. Magu is still active as the acting chairman of the Anti-Corruption Agency.
Even if they want to renominate him, they should first and foremost put their house in order. I mean, the presidency should first and foremost put their house in order. And then so that's because on the two occasions that his nomination has been rejected, it was rejected on the basis of an instrument from the DSS, which is an agency under the presidency.
Apart from the issue with the EFCC leadership, the Senate has been in the news for the invitation of the customs boss, suspension of one of their own who had expressed contradicting opinion, and even the invitation of the chairman of the Presidential Advisory Committee Against Corruption, Professor Ise Sage.
This thing are just getting too much. That is only a simple thing that cannot see that dramas, scripts are written every day just to keep us busy. We are laughing away our life. Hey.
A former Senator Olorunibe Mamora, however, calls for patience with the legislature.
The reality of our political evolution is that we had military interventions, not intervention, interventions. So, resulting in stunted growth of the legislature.
But some Nigerians have become impatient.
If these people love this country, they should go back to the drawing board. They should go and pick up their manifestos. Look at what they promised Nigerians. And begin to do serious delivery to our people.
Acceleration in fulfilling good governance depends largely on a cordial relationship between the three arms of government. And that is what Nigerians are asking for. Amy Thompson reporting for Channels Television News.
Prospective candidates seeking to write the Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination (UTME) can now heave a sigh of relief. This is because the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board has announced an extension of the registration. The Registrar of JAMB, Professor Isha Koloyede, while addressing the news conference in Abuja, spoke on the mock examination earlier scheduled to hold today.
The Joint Admission and Matriculation Board, JAMB, wishes to apologize to candidates and other stakeholders on the fact that we could not go on as planned with the mock examination. We are hereby announcing the extension of the registration exercise of the 2017 UTME. Instead of the earlier announced April 19, the deadline for the sale of forms and registration will now extend to Friday, May 5, 2017. Consequently, the 2017 UTME, that is the examination proper, has also been postponed to start from the 13th, Saturday 13th to May 28th of May, Saturday 2017. Meanwhile, the mock examination earlier slated for April 8, 2017 has been put on hold, and the new date will be announced soon.
In the meantime, the Minister of Education says that government will not lower the admission cut-off mark for the 78,000 candidates that sat for the National Common Entrance Examination today. Malam Adamu, shortly after monitoring the entrance in Abuja, reaffirmed the government's commitment to providing quality education at all levels. On his part, the Registrar of the National Examination Council of Nigeria, Professor Charles Uwukwe, who accompanied the minister, said that he is satisfied with the conduct of the examination.
But you know, they are restricted only to the places in urban areas where the insurgency will not get to the students. If all places are like this, I think I'm satisfied. Yeah. Only that we'll try to make the pupils more comfortable, but there is no power in some places.
For us, it's really very important because this is a transition exam. Okay, our children are moving from primary school to secondary school. Okay, for a lot of parents, this is their first experience of getting their children to transit from primary school to secondary school. And even for the veterans, it's always a special experience for this special child to move from primary school to secondary school. Okay, so we didn't spare any effort at all in ensuring that the exam is very well conducted in terms of the logistics, the question papers, distribution. A lot of my staff have been traveling for the past 3 days, almost non-stop.
In part 2, after the break, motorists seek security presence on the bridge linking Lagos and Ogun states, following frequent attacks by armed robbers. Stay with us.